Am I wrong for buying $500 of mismarked prime rib? I was visiting my local grocery store on Sunday in Michigan with the intention of buying a couple of pounds of chicken wings and two steaks for my wife and I. As the meat department clerk was weighing and preparing my wings, I looked at the prime rib, and the very large thing 12/13 pounds a piece prime rib sections were listed with the dollar amount, and then I thought this was peculiar, because that just seemed off to me. It should have said dollar amount rib. I snapped a photo of the price tag, and then I took a flyer, and I said, "Hey, I have a big party coming up. I need all of your prime rib." He looked at me like I was crazy, and began the process of packaging up 6 of the whole prime ribs. I cook for a veterans group on Saturdays, and this would not only go far, but it would save a ton of money on their budget. I went up to the register, and the meat rang up for over $140 per package. I scanned each of them, I paid the price, and I walked right over to customer service. The customer service attendant got very wide-eyed and called over a manager. I walked with the manager over to the meat area, where the price was still displayed as $17.99 each, and I let him know that due to the scanner law, I just want the difference with the $5.00 added to each. The manager was livid. They completed the refund of the difference, and he said to me this could very well lead to someone losing their job. At that point, I said, "You can't be serious. I'll return the meat. Nobody needs to lose their job." The manager responded with, "Maybe you shouldn't have taken advantage of the fact that somebody made a mistake, because it's already too late. So am I wrong for taking advantage of the incorrect price? Would I be wrong for refusing a large cash gift on behalf of my children? My 2 kids are 15F and 13F. My dad very unceremoniously left our family when I turned 20. He wasn't a bad guy necessarily. To him, he fulfilled his obligation to raise me to an adult and wanted to cut ties and live his own life because he became a father very young. In the 25 years since he left, he's lived his dream with lots of travel. I know it shouldn't have affected me as much as it did, since I was an adult. But it devastated my mom, and he promised he'd keep in touch with all of us. He never did. Since then, I've only spoken to him 4 or 5 times and I haven't met him. My mom has never spoken to him again. This was all on his end. We tried to no avail. When I had kids of my own, we didn't pretend I didn't have a dad or he passed or anything like that. I was always forthright and told my daughters that he decided not to be a dad anymore, and it hurt Grandma and me deeply. If my kids had any questions, I told them the truth with how it affected us, but also more menial things like how he was, who he was, and so on. My kids have a generally negative view of him, and they came to their own conclusions given all the facts with no hyperbole or sugarcoating. He emailed me to talk on the phone last week, and he told me he's dying with stage 4 lung cancer. We talked a bit about him leaving, and he said he doesn't regret his decision because his life was taken from him. He said he respects that I turned into a well-adjusted adult, and he's proud that I've got so far, even without him, but that he doesn't love me and has no intention of seeing me before he goes. He did say, however, that he is dividing his assets between a few close friends and wanted to leave $25.00 each to both of my kids. He was a penny pincher, but still lived modestly. He only ever worked to maintain, never to grow, so I don't doubt this is a large chunk of his total assets. He said it's only right that they get this money because they're his only grandchildren. I'm conflicted because accepting this money means, at least how my brain rationalizes it, that I forgive him or that it's okay or healthy to have lived how he did. I don't want my kids to get a lump sum and suddenly have a change of heart about him. I'm thinking of refusing the money on their behalf because it sets a bad example. My wife stands by my decision. But would I be wrong to my kids for taking this choice from them? They don't know about it, and my plan is to keep them in the dark about it, possibly forever. Am I wrong for letting my ex-GF take the blame and not paying her back rent money? My ex-28 female broke up with me after 2 years together because she claimed I 32 male was being really moody and not wanting to hang out with her. I also was let go from my job and didn't have the energy to find another one. My GF broke up with me after our lease expired and demanded I pay her back for the 2 months rent I couldn't pay because I wasn't working. After she left, I moved back with my parents. I was pretty devastated because I didn't have a job and GF, and it was like I was a teenager again living in my parents' house who were looking down on me for failing at life. I don't think I treated her badly, I just wasn't feeling great at the time. I had been going to doctors a lot for the last couple years. They could never find anything wrong with me. I was diagnosed with arthritis previously. Finally, I was referred to a specialist who did another blood test and found I was high in antibodies and diagnosed me with lupus. I read about the symptoms and they fit better than arthritis, so I hope it's a definitive diagnosis. I was diagnosed less than a month after she broke up with me, and I told my friends about it. We share a lot of friends, so when they asked why we broke up, I said she just didn't like my attitude or something, and they filled in the blanks and began accusing her of breaking up with me because of my diagnoses. She broke up with me before the diagnoses, but I think she did break up with me because I wasn't feeling good and not giving her attention. She texted me to tell our mutual friends she broke up before the diagnoses, and I told her I didn't clarify the dates, and they made their own assumptions. She accused me of intentionally ruining her friendships and not paying her back for the rent I owe her. Why should I when she broke up with me? But am I wrong for not clarifying with my friends she broke up before the diagnoses and not paying her back for rent? Am I wrong for humiliating my sister during her birthday party? My 23 male sister threw a huge birthday party since she was turning 30. A lot of relatives and friends were invited. I didn't really want to go at first since I don't have the best relationship with her, but this birthday seemed important for her, and she was excited for it, so I thought I'll give it a shot. The other reason why I attended is for my niece 16 female, whom I have a great relationship with and care about a lot. She loves spending time and hanging out with me and her other uncle, my brother 26 male. Lately my niece often makes jokes about her mom screaming at her and treating her badly. When I expressed my concern, she said that it's nothing more than a joke and that they have arguments but she never gets punished or yelled at. I had a hard time believing it since my sister would scream at me and my brother to when we used to live together, but I thought I won't intervene since I don't want to potentially make my niece uncomfortable or create an awkward situation. During the party my niece made another joke about how her mom treats her. Her mom overheard the joke and started scolding my niece. It was so awkward, but things truly heated up when she started doing exactly what my niece would joke about. She got really aggressive with her, asking how dare she talk like that about her when she does everything for her comfort. When my niece asked her to stop screaming, she started screaming even more, and at that point everyone at the party could hear her and my niece crying. My sister kept talking about how much of a great mom she actually is, how ungrateful her daughter is, and then she tells her to get out of the place and go hang out with her dumb friends who made her dumb too. That's when me and my brother intervened. I told her that what she does to my niece is the bare minimum, and she could have at least not yell at her during a party where everyone can see what's happening. Then I told her that she's not a good mom at all because screaming at your daughter is not normal, and if she's making jokes about your behavior there's probably some truth to it. My brother also defended my niece and told in front of everyone how she treated him and I the same way she now treats her daughter. We left with my niece after that and she's staying with me and my boyfriend for now. My brother is too busy with his toddler, so we decided to keep our niece. Her mom is threatening that if I don't bring her daughter back immediately she's going to do something about it. She said how much of an I am for ruining her birthday party and having all our relatives hate her. And yet, our parents sided with her, telling me that how she is parenting her daughter is none of my and my brother's business. Am I wrong for defending my niece? Edit. Thanks to everyone who gave advice. I'll be taking legal action ASAP. Am I wrong for screaming at my autistic brother to get away from me? I 27 female grew up with an older brother 30 male who has special needs. My parents doted on him and taught me to put his needs above all else. Growing up, I never felt important. Everything I did was for my brother. I got high marks, my mom would say it's for my brother. I won a high jump competition, my brother got to keep the medal. My presents were suited for his needs. Nothing was ever mine, and I was never allowed to touch any of his stuff because that might upset him. Needless to say, I came to harbor a sort of frustration. maybe even resentment, toward this setup. I knew it wasn't my brother's fault, but I couldn't help hating him. I knew better to take it out on my brother or my parents who were really just trying their best. So I moved out as soon as I hit college. I've felt so free ever since. I visit them twice a year, for maybe a couple days each time, and therefore don't mind the treatment as much as before. Well, this past Christmas, they decided to surprise me. They came over to my place unannounced and stayed for almost a month. Either all the pent-up childhood frustrations compounded or his behaviors got worse. But I snapped by the end because he rummaged around my stuff and broke something every day, some expensive, some of sentimental value. That last time, he broke the door to my room and ruined a lot of my treasured possessions. I screamed at him to get away from me and that I don't ever want to see him ever again. I think I even said something along the line of wishing he never existed. My screaming upset my brother, and my words hurt my parents. He threw a tantrum. My parents were stressed. I made a mess. My mom has been calling every day telling how sorry she is that I felt that way. But I shouldn't have held on to such cruel sentiments. She cries for hours on the phone. My dad called a couple of times telling me how disappointed he was in me and how insensitive I had been. I feel extremely guilty, but at the same time, meant every word I said. I knew it was out of my brother's control. I knew he probably didn't mean any ill. But none of the excuses matters to me anymore. So am I wrong? Am I wrong for telling my roommate's mom that she can't live with us anymore? Live in a house with 3 roommates. For the last several months, one of my roommates, who I'll call V, has been having her mother basically live with us. She is almost always at the house, at least 4 to 5 days a week. She takes hours in the kitchen cooking, does laundry here, even parks in our driveway, after having to take my laundry to my parents' house 20 minutes away several times because I have work clothes that I need washed while her mother is using our washing machine. I have been getting really fed up and feel like this is a total intrusion of our property. On Christmas morning, my one day off to sleep late, she woke me up at 9 a.m. chopping a duck in our kitchen. There have been many examples like this that have been building up over the last several months. Recently, I had to basically work 48 hours straight and was excited to go home and have my girlfriend come over and cook us a meal. I had a ton of laundry to do and bring in from my car. As I get home, I see the mom is parked in the driveway. I bring in all my stuff from street parking to find the mom using our kitchen and washing machine. I see that V is not home, just the mother using our whole house. Fed up, I contacted the landlord, who said she will talk to V. 2 days later, I come home to see the mother in our home, while V is not home, using our washing machine again. I decided to watch her exit the house and see that she has a key. I believe this is completely unreasonable, and she should only be here as V's guest while she is home. I contacted the landlord again to tell him, and he said he agreed with me. Later that night, V and the mother confronted me for speaking to the landlord. She said that the mother cleans the house and is always very sweet to us, which is true. She called me out for not taking the garbage out enough, which is also true. But my justification was, if the mom is living here for free, she can at least do these things. I would be happy to do them if she left. I asked her to tell me how many nights a week her mom sleeps here, and she refused to answer. Her mom admitted to having a key when I said I saw her, and V accused me of basically creepily watching her mother when I said I also watched to see if she was the one doing laundry. They said they are doing V's laundry, but I see the mom taking loads in and out of her car. They also used the excuse that it is part of their culture several times, which I told them then they should find a place that they can live together, where they both pay rent. I told the mother that she should not have a key to our home and only to come as V's guest. V firmly believes I am the asshole here, because she says she pays rent so she can do as she pleases too, but I still feel like this is completely overstepping their boundaries. Am I wrong for telling the mom she can't live at the house anymore? Am I wrong for canceling a birthday trip and telling my oldest to leave after my sons made homophobic jokes towards their brother? My son 15 male sat the whole family down after dinner and told us that he was gay. My other son 17 male and 19 male started saying the most disgusting homophobic things I've ever heard, but they were all jokes. During their little comedy act, I told them to stop multiple times. But they didn't. My 15-year-old just sat there uncomfortable looking. He wanted to cry. When my 15-year-old finally got up to leave, his brothers hugged him and said, "You know we're messing with you. We love you, bro," and we knew. I canceled my 17-year-old's upcoming birthday trip and told my 19-year-olds to leave. He doesn't live at home anymore. My husband thinks since they said they didn't mean and they love him, my reaction was wrong and will just cause friction between them. He especially got upset at me telling our oldest to leave and started an argument that hasn't ended yet. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for snapping at a co-worker over a secret Santa gift I gave to him? I know that Christmas is around 3 weeks ago, but this incident happened like about 4 days ago, and I'm feeling both angry and somewhat guilty about it. So, I have this co-worker who is generally a sweet and kind guy with good intentions but tends to be extremely dramatic and has a bad habit of quite literally crying over anything that mildly inconveniences him. And I don't want to say that he's a bad guy because I can tell and also have been warned beforehand that he definitely has some anxiety issues, but he is definitely the walk around eggshell type of anxious, which makes me nervous to be around him. Which is why I dread over being his secret Santa when they told me about it around late November, because I was extremely worried about what to give to him, since I wanted to be careful about not setting him off. So, trying my best to carefully figure out what kind of gifts he may like, I decided to get him an otter stuffed animal since I figured out that he liked otters, and that stuffed animals makes him calm and happy. So when the day of when we were supposed to open our gifts came, I was relieved that he seemed so happy at first because he loved the way the box was wrapped. Until he opened his gift, to which he started bawling his eyes out in what I find to be for a ridiculous reason. He was upset that the otter stuffed animal was gray and not brown, and that he was hurt that the person who gave him the wasn't thoughtful enough to give him an otter that was colored correctly. So, at the end, he ended up leaving earlier because he looked like he was having a full-blown mental breakdown over it, and I'm pretty sure that the Christmas mood was ruined, or at least mine was, and that was that, right? Well, apparently not. Since our co-workers decided to bring it up their conversations about Christmas gifts about 4 days ago, to which that same co-worker mentioned how most of his gifts was okay, except for his secret Santa gift, which he commented was the worst gift that he had ever gotten, and said how he couldn't believe how bad it was, that it genuinely made him so upset that he had to leave due to having a mental breakdown over it. And I snapped at him over it, which obviously revealed me as his secret Santa. And I basically told him to shut up about it since I didn't appreciate how rude he was being over a stupid gift. So, yeah. I ended up making him cry again, and he ended up having to go home earlier due to my outburst, and my co-workers had a talk with me about how I should have handled it better since we were warned about needing to be more gentle, and how I could potentially get in trouble over this, even if they understand why I was upset. I did end up apologizing to him yesterday when we met again at work. But I'm still wondering if I was really wrong for lashing out like him like that, or if my reaction can be considered justified at all, because I'm still pretty angry about this whole thing.